2024 tourist tax still under discussion. Sandiaga. Golden visa still under discussion. Sandiaga. Stay tuned for details. Pak Sandiaga has a lot to say today. Welcome to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. This is July 18th, 2023, and my name is Bruce. What is the weather like today? It is lovely. It is 28.9 degrees Celsius here in Kampung Bugis, 54% humidity, and the wind speed 9.3 kilometers per hour. Little clouds, but what a great day. I love Julys in Bali. They are wonderful. And no rain up here in Singaraja. I don't know about where you are. If you're having some rain, leave a comment so that I know what's going on with the weather around the island. And the first stage of my son's wedding is over. The lamaran's finished. We got through it. I feel so much better. And we have the actual wedding ceremony coming up at the end of the month. And right now I'm working on editing a very long video and trying to make it short of what the lamaran is and how it works here traditionally in Kampung Bugis. So first story, since my last video, of course, the governor of Bali said that there's going to be 150,000 levy, fee, tax, whatever you want to call it, for foreign tourists starting in 2024. And so lots and lots, of course, chatter about this. How come it's only for foreign tourists? Why isn't it for domestic tourists? 150,000, add that to 500,000, and I'm paying 650,000 per person. Wow, if I've got a family, that's adding up. Well, as always in Indonesia, whenever you hear any pronouncements from the government, you have to take that with a grain of salt. And unless they say it's happening tomorrow, and it does happen tomorrow, you don't know if it's going to happen or not. And so there is some discussion going on about this. So let's take a look. Chairman of Commission 2, DPRD, Bali Rates Rp 150,000 levy for foreign tourists to Bali is too cheap. Yes, the chairperson of Commission 2 of the DPRD in Bali Province, IGK Krishna Budi, said that the levy of 150,000 for foreign tourists is too cheap. We're not charging them enough. So he said, Bali is the best destination. Many people want to go to Bali, so tourists can take part then in maintaining the culture in Bali. For that, we should charge as well, he added. Why not? We're charging for everything else these days. It's just that my submission, he said, is actually 500,000 per person because it's too cheap. Bali's the best destination in the world right now, so let's charge some more money for it. According to him, if the levy for tourists, or the fee for tourists, or the tax for tourists is 500,000, it assumes that there's going to be, let's say, 9 million tourists per year, he said. I don't know how he got 9 million foreign tourists. Multiply that by 500,000. He said Bali will get approximately 4.5 trillion rupiah. When compared to other regions, he said, they get money from the state. Bali only gets it from the tourism sector, so we need to make some more money for ourselves. He said now the use of the imposition is how will we use it for public health, education, and also insurance for tourists while visiting Bali. Okay, the insurance for tourists I hadn't heard before. Krishna said that the imposition of fees is not going to have any problem on tourists coming to Bali. In fact, he thinks the number of people will increase because the funds will help Bali improve existing facilities for tourists and make them more comfortable. He said, I'm sure the increase will not decrease. Oh, I like that. I'm sure the increase will not decrease. I'm saying that whoever pays for something gets better service. Do they want it or not? Sure they do. So for us to try to provide the best service to tourists and also to the contribution of the tourists themselves, it's reciprocal. So jump the fees up to 500,000 and everybody's going to win. It's a win-win situation. It's considered that foreign tourists will definitely be happy because the contribution that they make is beneficial for maintaining Balinese culture and nature. He said the payment for tourists will be immediately after they arrive at the airport. Therefore, he said he's asking the airport to provide a special place, a special counter, to get money from the foreign tourist. So you can pay for one thing in one place, you can pay for another thing in another place at the airport. That's what he's saying. But the governor said something about using e-payments, right? So different stories from different folks. So he also said that he hopes that the $150,000 is only for foreign tourists, adult foreign tourists. And there was another story that I haven't included here that said the same thing. They said, are we going to charge for children for this? Because if we do, just like I said before, you got a family, things add up. So there's some discussion about what age. For example, 12. If you're under 12, you don't pay. If you're over 12, you pay. The governor said we're going to have this and everything is hunky-dory and it's all figured out. Apparently not. But does that surprise anybody? So there we have one take on the 150,000 tourist tax. But that's not the only take. There are other takes as well. So let's take a look and see what other players in the tourist industry have to say. Foreign tourist levy of 150,000. BTB hopes for transparency and comfort for tourists. So the governor unilaterally decided to have 150,000 rupiah fee. The regulation is currently being prepared. It is not done yet. The chairperson of the Bali Tourism Board, Ida Bagus Agung Partha Adnyana, Gus Agung as he's called, said that he would send representatives from the Bali Indonesia Tour Guides Association to the plenary session of the Bali Provincial DPRD, which will be held in the near future. In the plenary session, he said, his party will submit some notes. He said, in principle, all stakeholders are very supportive of this levy for tourism. The model of levy is common in other countries. Thailand, Japan, and Europe have implemented things like that, he said. This was the other day. Does anybody know if that's true? Have any of these countries implemented a tourist tax? Gus Agung added that the tourist industry and other stakeholders want a larger portion to use, or 80%. They want to use it for two main things. First, the quality of infrastructure needs to be financed to support tourism so that tourists are safe and comfortable when on vacation in the island of the gods. And second, to support sustainable tourism, promotion funds, and authentic cultural experiences. I always thought you could get authentic cultural experiences by going to one of the beach clubs. It's believed that these two things together can continue to attract visitors as well as help preserve Bali's nature and cultural heritage for future generations. The most important thing, he said, is transparency on the way that the budget is being used so that the industry can be involved in giving input on how to use the money. He said, also, we don't want to make a waiting time for tourists, so we want to be able to have them pay quickly so they can get out of the airport and spend some more money. When asked about the price, he said, no, it doesn't need to be raised. It's fine at 150,000. Different opinion here. Further, he said he didn't know how this is going to go in terms of getting the money. He said, is it going to be similar to the application of a visa on arrival, meaning you can do it online if you want? He said, it's still a long time, right? 2024 is the plan. The only thing to think about now, the important issue as transparency and the place and method of collection must not make the tourist wait a long time. He said he hopes that tourists will continue to flock to Bali as we get better infrastructure. He said, Bali has got a problem with infrastructure. There used to be two problems, garbage and infrastructure. But the government's already started cleaning up the trash, so that's not a problem anymore. Go down to Jalan Diponegoro in Singaraja and see. And he said, well, and then we have the problem with the roads, and so that's going to have to be fixed. So somewhere here in my bookcase, I've got some rose-colored glasses I think that some people are wearing. Maybe that's where they went to. I can't find them. Maybe they disappeared over in the tourist leader section of the island. Okay, so there we've got two takes on the tourism tax. But there's another one, Pak Sandiaga, as I mentioned, Pak Sandiaga. Sandiaga examines fees of rupiah 150,000 for foreign tourists in Bali. So the Minister of Creative Economy and Tourism, Sandiaga Uno, said that he was discussing and studying the planned levy of $150,000 for foreign tourists. He said if the plan has legal force, either through local regulations, PERDA, or other regulations, the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy will socialize it further. Be patient, he said. He likes that. We cannot answer yet because this is still being disseminated. Coordination steps are being taken. And of course, later we want to accommodate a lot of input from all parties. He said this yesterday. Monday is a time when he likes to give press conferences, and so he has a lot to say on Mondays. Sandiaga sees Bali as the foundation for Indonesian tourism. He said half of the total foreign tourist arrivals in Indonesia so far, they come to Bali first. So we have to make sure, he said, that Bali is a quality, culture-based, dignified, and sustainable tourist destination. I've heard this song. According to him, if the planned levy of $150,000 for foreign tourists becomes a regulation, he asks that this be socialized well to all parties. We have to convey a clear narrative that levies are for convenience and for the sustainability of destinations in Bali. So this will continue to be discussed. Please, input from all of you. We will socialize and facilitate together with the provincial government of Bali. Sandiaga hopes that the funds raised will be used to preserve culture, nature, conservation, environment, and all of that good stuff. He also said that the implementation of the fees must be based on a complete study and present a sustainable tourism, especially from a conservation aspect. If Bali becomes a pioneer, we have to see, because Bali has become top of the mind. Other regions, they're already at that stage. We need to study this in depth in order to get there. Meanwhile, the head of the Bali Provincial Tourism Office, Pak Pemayan, discussed many times, said that the mandate to carry out these levies is in Law number 15 of 2023 concerning the province of Bali. He said previously we had Regional Regulation number 1 of 2020 concerning tourist contributions, but that was voluntary. Now this is going to be mandatory. He said the basis behind the collection was how to protect Balinese culture, nature, and environment so that it's sustainable and can be enjoyed by tourists feeling safe and comfortable. The e-payment mechanism can also be made before they arrive in Bali by showing the barcode we have prepared. So here's another way to collect the money. So all of this much ado about nothing at this point, people fretting online, and I'm not coming to Bali, I'm going here, I'm going there, Vietnam, Thailand, wherever. Nothing's set in stone as usual. Some people are saying we should get $150,000 from local tourists too. Why not? Because they're here and we would get even more money because twice as many local tourists as foreign tourists come here, and so that's another source of income. Of course, there are problems like, what about, for example, my two son-in-laws who live here, but sometimes they have to go to Java, they have to go to Flores, they have to go to Papua, they have to go here or there for their job. So when they come back and they come in through the harbor, for example, because the harbor will be one of the places where they're going to be collecting fees, well, are they going to have some exemption card, little badge that they can wear on, I don't know, funny ears that show that they've already paid? So there's a number of things to work out here as usual, and so we'll just have to wait and see. So right now I wouldn't get in an uproar about this. So this is July. A lot of stuff can change by then, because despite what the government says, things don't always happen that way, as we can see in the next segment about the Golden Visa. Golden Visa has never been launched, Sandiaga, still discussing. So the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Pak Sandiaga, has opened up about the Golden Visa. The Golden Visa is that type of visa with this long stay. Its expiration period is going to be from 5 to 10 years. And you remember that this was targeted for the end of June 2023. Here we are in the middle of July, and it is still not here. He said it's not here because it's still in the discussion stage. So here we are in July. It means further discussion is needed. Very common and always good. Make sure you know what you're doing before you announce it and put it into effect. Pak Sandiaga asked all parties to be patient. This is because various inputs are needed in discussing the Golden Visa so that all relevant stakeholders have a chance to say something. According to Pak Sandiaga, foreigners who wish to obtain the Golden Visa when visiting Indonesia must meet a number of certain criteria. He didn't detail the criteria, but he said that they have to have sufficient deposits or savings. Pak Sandiaga said with the issuance of this new type of visa, he hopes that the quality of tourists in Indonesia will improve, especially in Bali. Apart from that, he hopes that foreign investors will also take advantage of the new type of visa. Especially for long-term foreign tourists, he said, it's hoped that this will encourage digital entrepreneurs and also foreign tourists of higher quality because they stay longer. We hope that they'll invest not only in property, but other things that create jobs, he said. So if you're one of those people that is waiting for the Golden Visa, hang in there. It may come around eventually. And how about sports in Bali? Big events here too, canceled this year. Did not make Indonesia look very good, but Pak Sandiaga has something to say about that too. Sandiaga seeking international events for Bali. After estimating that Bali lost $13.5 million due to the sudden cancellation of the World Beach Games for August, Tourism and Creative Economy Minister Pak Sandiaga is pledging to find replacement events that will compensate the financial losses suffered by Bali with the loss of the U20 World Cup and the World Beach Games. Pak Sandiaga said, yes, for sure, we need to calculate the economic impact, but let's not let this be a divisive and contentious issue. We will look for replacement events to assist recovery. The tourism minister is convinced that canceling the beach games is not going to affect other scheduled events. He believes that the international community continues to have trust in Indonesia. I have a bridge to sell too. The tourism minister said that his office would present all the reasons to possible organizing committees that will allow them to maintain their trust in Indonesia. And Bali's governor, of course, said that the cancellation is not because of us. We are not at fault here. This is the central government and the Indonesian Olympic Committee organizing this. He said, they did not take care of it. They dropped the ball. Will foreign organizations continue to have trust in Indonesia to schedule sporting events after 2 have been canceled? Just have to wait and see as usual here. And so we've got the signs, right? The do's and don'ts now are everywhere, being disseminated everywhere. Everybody can see them. I don't know. I was just looking at them the other day in a video. Somebody was showing, a big sign with all the do's and don'ts. And I thought, why do we need these simple things? This is just common sense, right? We have to make signs and distribute booklets and make a big fuss internationally. Don't pee on sacred temples. Don't do this. Don't take your clothes off in the street. It boggles my mind. If you're one of those people that follows my English language channel, you know I was talking about the word misanthrope the other day. That's how I feel when I see all this stupid stuff. Well, of course we need this because people are still doing bizarre things here. Having the signs, giving the booklets, it's not going to stop. Apparently, foreign tourists cannot wait to come here and do crazy things. And here we have one. Bule's behaving badly. Viral Caucasian walk on the Bali Mandara highway. Officers follow 8-kilometer walk to the toll exit. A viral video on social media shows a foreigner walking in the middle of the Bali Mandara toll road and seemingly to be going berserk for no apparent reason. Well, I think the reason is because he's in Bali. The action also endangered himself and motorists using the toll road because he walked in the middle and tried to stop drivers. The incident happened this past Saturday around 6:30. Assistant Manager of Risk and Quality Management and Corporate Communication of the toll road, Iwayan Purwajaya, said that as soon as he heard about this, officers rushed to the scene to follow up on it. However, the officers did not want to be too aggressive because they considered the safety aspect both for the officers and the toll road users. Because the foreigner kept dodging and rebelling and endangered everybody. Out of consideration for safety, the officers chose to take unusual steps. What was the unusual step that they were taking? They followed him along the toll road 8 kilometers until he got off. He was actually intercepted by the officers at first, but he rebelled, and so they walked all the way to Nusa Dua, he said. The official said, poor Wajaya. One officer was in front carrying a flag as a sign of caution to passing motorists, and another person was behind to keep cars from running them all over. And so he said approximately 8 kilometers our officers took part on foot. According to information from road users, this foreigner previously caused problems over in Banjar Ambengan. After that, he decided to go to the toll road and make some more trouble. I'm not sure what it is. Some people just get here and they just go crazy. Too much sun, too much sand, too much sex, too much drugs, too much alcohol. Who knows? But we have a lot of mental health cases here. And more it seems than in the past. But don't really have statistics on that, so who knows? But here's another one. Caucasian rampage breaks the glass door of the clinic in Kuta. The civil service police unit, Satpol PP of Badung Regency, arrested a foreign national for going berserk last night. She broke the glass door of the Omsa Medic Tuban Clinic on Jalan Warangan, Kuta, Badung. She was a female, but her identity is unknown. She is currently being treated at Central Government Hospital. Apparently, the incident occurred last night around 8:30. She just went berserk for some reason and smashed the window. There's no more information on that right now. Officials are trying to figure out who she is, because I guess she does not have any identification on her, and so they're trying to track her down through photos, I guess probably through immigration photos. You can't make this stuff up. It just gets weirder and weirder and weirder here. Thank God for Kampung Bugis. And that is it for today. Okay, thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.